Sleepy Hollow Season 2, Episode 15, Spellcaster. Definitely a great episode that introduced really just a bunch of questions, particularly the Captain Irving Parish pairing thing going on. And also one of the other really big things that I don't know, like these three things are my favorite parts. The Irving stuff, like him being in the episode was really cool. Um, he seemed to kind of just be living it up like he's alive, he's back with his family. He's sort of in an in-between area, it seemed, in this episode, where it was like he kind of left the typical group. He wasn't really just helping out with the cases because, there's suspicions and things like that. But he still cared. He was wanted to be with his friends. He still gave a crap about them. And he helped them out when they wanted to be helped out. And then we had Parish, who's just like alive in this hotel, which I'm pretty sure we saw. I think I'm almost 100% sure it's like the hotel from the first season. And I can't remember what was happening in that season, but something, or in that episode when they showed it. But they showed that hotel before. And him being there was like, okay, he's alive. He's just in a hotel. He's obviously been there for days because the woman mentions how he's a long-term visitor. And, it's like, I don't really know what to think of that. He's just kind of been in solitude, doing his thing, watching crappy TV, pretty much all infomercials, and just carving wood. And then we have, like, the third little thing that they dropped on us in this episode, and that's Katrina almost being destined to go kind of dark side with her witch powers. And we saw a little taste of that at the end of the episode where she wanted to try it and see what would happen. And she completely, it seemed like she turned it almost to like ash. Like if you touched it, it would have turned to smoke. But I think she actually froze it and it kind of exploded from like sheer force. And it was crazy to see that. Like, her eyes go all white. She even bled from the nose, and that could just be, it was the first time she really did it, so she wasn't, her body couldn't really handle that power 100%. But those three little things are going to be insane for the rest of the season and possibly the series, especially considering we only have 3 episodes left this season, which I had no idea. And it's just crazy to think that we're only in like episode 15 and it's ending in 3 more episodes. And I don't know what to think about that. Like, a lot of stuff has to happen. We have Parish coming back, and he basically, based on what he said, I have to assume he's going to become the main villain. Like, that was really the big question during this mid-season finale that we got. Malik is officially gone. He is dead. And it's like, well, Parish died, so what's going to happen? Like, who's going to take over as, like, the main demon? And then we find out that Parish is officially alive, and I have to assume he has some sort of control over Irving. Like, Irving isn't himself. He wouldn't help Parish for no apparent reason. Just like, I'm going to help him because we're buddies now because we died together or some crap like that. He did that because he does have control over his soul, and it's a form of Irving. Like, it's him. It's the guy who cares about his wife and his daughter and who wants to help Abby and Ichabod. But at the same time, he knows, like, he's doing something. He took that grimoire for a reason. It has powerful spells, and he gave it to Parish, and he knows that he's betraying them, but he doesn't really care. He's just, like, living it up. Like, he's just in the moment having fun or something. And I have to assume that that's because his soul is gone. And honestly, the only thing I can think to compare this to is Supernatural when Sam's soul was gone, which is like years ago now. But kind of like the same sort of thing. Like, he knows what he's doing. In this case, I think it's a little different because his soul was basically stolen from him when he was tricked into signing. But I don't know what to expect. I'm excited for it, for sure. I'm really excited now that we only have like 3 or 4. I don't know if, because they always do counting weird. It's like 3 episodes left, and then it's like, well, is the next episode one of the 3, or is that like 1 episode and then 3 after? So we either have 3 or 4 episodes left. I don't know. But I'm really excited to see how much they push for the rest of this season, because with only 3 or 4 episodes left, they've got a lot to touch on now. I mean, there are really only 2 big things, admittedly, and it's how did Parish come back? Just how did Parish slash Irving come back? Because they're kind of like one now with the whole soul thing. It's like you got the body, but you have the soul with Parish, and there's just a huge divide there. And of course, it's with this series being what it is, they kind of have to define that in their own way. So it's not just like, well, he has his soul, so he has his body and all that. So they have to explain it in their own certain way. So we need that answer. Of course, we got to see what's Katrina gonna do and what's gonna happen as she develops this sort of dark witch power that she's really tapping into. Because I can only assume with pretty much anything that says like there is this magic and then this magic is dark, it's almost guaranteed something bad is going to happen. I mean, she already bled from the nose, and all she did was freeze and shatter a little flower. So I can only imagine what crazy stuff is going to happen if she kind of builds that up and goes against really strong enemies like they did in this episode. And I guess that's a good segue to kind of switch to the main point of the episode, which is this villain who was basically just trying to travel back in time and really just get this woman that he loved. And it was really cool. I like the way they tied his character into kind of starting the Salem witch trials and how Katrina was actually connected to the Salem witch trials because her grandmother was killed during them. And I like the villain, how he was really powerful. I wish I could remember his name. I'm obviously terrible with names. But he was really powerful, and he kind of told her, like, you can't really beat me because you haven't accepted who you are. And it just brings up a lot of different questions for the show, like her basically being fated to go dark. Like, why is that? Like, why can't she just be who she is and not have like creepy white eyes and blood running out of her nose to be really powerful? Why is her bloodline tied to dark magic and not just magic that's powerful? So there are a couple of questions just in that by itself, and he brought those out, and he was really the first magic based enemy that we've actually seen, not counting like the Horsemen. This guy was the first magic based enemy, and he's like using like force push and stuff on everybody. That's all I saw. Every time he did it was like he using force push on people, and he's just blowing people back. When he was fighting Katrina, and he did something with the book, and he shot a force at her. I don't know what they did, but it seemed like it really hurt when she hit the wall behind her, and she like turned sideways and just flew into the thing. It was like, that seems like it really hurt. Like, not fake hurt, but like really hurt. So it was kind of cool to see those sort of effects, because we don't typically get that where the characters are just being like shot off into space. They get beat up and punched and scratched and stuff, and then it's like, more typical. And then in this episode, it was just like boom, and people are like flipping over crates and all sorts of stuff. So I actually really enjoyed that because it was a little different as far as the action goes. So I definitely enjoyed that. Like I said, the villain himself, he was interesting. Of course, loved the way it tied in with the Salem witch trials and all of that. And him kind of trying to go through time, I thought was pretty interesting as well, because I think this is also the first time travel, as close as we've gotten to like a time travel episode in this series, except for maybe when they had pestilence like really early on in the first season, and it was like this entire village basically came back to life out of nowhere. So that sort of counts, but not really. So I definitely love this episode. Of course, the biggest stuff is Parish is alive. Irving is a sort of a villain now, really mystery, good guy, bad guy thing going on. And then Katrina basically using this dark magic will most likely lead her to being a dark character. And who knows how that'll match with Parish deciding to come back as a wolf, as he put it, when he, like, him killing off those 3 guys at the end was pretty interesting too. And like, I knew he was gonna do something. Like, he watched the guy and his mother basically get harassed a little bit, and I'm like, okay, he's watching them. He did nothing in that one scene. I'm like, that was the catalyst right there, and I knew it was, and I wasn't sure how it was gonna play out. I definitely thought he was deciding, I'm gonna just be me right now. I'm gonna figure out what I want to be, and I'm gonna help these people right now. If they cause trouble, I'll kill these guys off and do something really bad, and then I'll just head back up to my room. But instead, it was like, I kind of wanted this for a second. I bonded with the kid. I bonded with his mother for like a tiny bit. I like what they had. And then you were douchebags, and so I just want to be evil again. And he just boom, 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 snapping necks, and he's off to being a villain again. And I can't wait to see how they do this. I've really enjoyed all the finales that this show has had so far. It hasn't been a ton, of course, because we're only in the second season. But, with the mid-season finale that we got, where they really killed off the main villain of the series for a season and a half, I can't wait to see how they end the second season. Like, they can't end it with people dying or coming back to life again, because I think that's how every finale, except like the first mid-season finale, has kind of been. It's like season finale, people trapped in purgatory, Ichabod was buried alive. This mid-season finale, Molly gets killed off, Irving died for like an episode. Parish was dead for I think 3 or 4 until he came back here. And I just don't know what to expect. They have the horsemen, the headless horsemen still. I guess they won't be introducing the other horsemen, at least in a permanent situation at all, for maybe a long time, if at all, than the rest of the series. But I don't know what to expect. I'm definitely excited for it because we have this character who I think is a great, great villain. I love Parish as a character. When he was a good guy, I thought it was really cool. When he officially turned evil and it was like, hey, I've basically been tricking you this whole time, still thought he was a great character. His sort of turmoil of working for Malik and having this balance of like, I don't want to hurt my mother, but at the same time, I can't care about her, and then like completely hating Ichabod and all of that stuff. I've loved his character so far. I think he's been very interesting. It's just been a really good character with a lot of emotional depth to him. And I just can't wait to see how things play out with him as the main villain. He's deciding now all the rules. Like as he said, I believe it was like, it wasn't destiny would bend to his will, but it was like something really important, like fate or something like that, would bend to his will. So I can't wait to see how they do things in these next couple episodes. But I think, oddly enough, with it being, us only having 3 or 4 more, this was a great start to a lot of cool little points that are going to be happening. At least for the next season, it's going to be some really big stuff. Like, these next couple of episodes, they can, of course, expand on it, but there's no way they're going to wrap up all these really amazing things, like us seeing this character come back and Katrina going, kind of dark side with her magic. They aren't going to wrap all that up by the end of this season. So, I don't know what we're going to get, but I can't wait to see it. But like I said, I love the episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts, and what do you guys think about these sort of new little bombs that they kind of dropped on us? Like Katrina going dark side, it can only end bad because it's, using dark magic. Always, in pretty much any lore, it's like dark magic is really, really powerful, and then it costs a whole lot. So it's either your life or someone else's life, and it's just always bad. So I have to assume that's how that's going to play out. If not this season, then next season for sure. And with Parish as the villain, I don't know what to expect from that because, it seemed like he'd really kind of bonded with his parents in that last moment when he killed Molly. He realized they still give a crap. They still consider him their son. They still love him. They still want to make things right. So I don't know. Like, it'll be an interesting balance because he had that realization that they cared and Malik didn't, and that's why he saved them. But at the same time, he wants to be powerful. So I can't wait to see it. I'm really loving this show. I think, I love the first season. This season, especially after the mid-season finale, was just like leagues beyond season 1. I'm excited for next week's episode. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.